This video demonstrates the first-time use of the Meetings Analyzer application when no database exists. We demonstrate how to create your first meeting entry. Additional videos are available that go into details on how to utilize the cost calculator, the meeting meter, saving a meeting, creating dummy test meetings that can be used to learn sorting, filtering, and analytics, sorting and filtering of meetings, use of meeting analytics, and items available in the menu including backing up and restoring your database. The Meeting Analyzer application was developed as an aid to determining and tracking meeting costs, but more importantly, evaluating meeting return on investment, ROI. The Meetings Analyzer provides a variety of easy-to-use algorithms that the user can choose from to help determine the cost per hour of the meeting. The Meeting Analyzer allows one to save the meetings along with the algorithm used to calculate the meeting costs and the configuration settings used by that algorithm. The Meeting Analyzer also provides the user with the capability to rate the usefulness of the meeting, categorize the meeting, and note who called or led the meeting. The first time the Meeting Analyzer starts, you will be taken to the introduction slides. There are 8 slides. Each slide provides a brief step-by-step summary on how to utilize that particular view. This video shows a few slides on how to use the cost calculator. We will not dwell on the slides in this video. The button on the last slide enables a user to begin using the Meetings Analyzer application. It also has a link to the full Meeting Analyzer's manual and web page. The introduction slides only come up the very first time the user initiates the Meetings Analyzer application. The user can review the introduction slides at any time through a menu selection. The Meeting Analyzer always begins at the Meetings page. Initially, there are no meetings in a database and this page is blank. Some important items to note on the Meetings page. There are 3 tabs available: the Meetings page, which you are currently on, the Cost Calculator, which is used to estimate the cost of the meeting, the Meeting Meter, which is used to start or simulate meetings, as well as save the meetings. On the top left of the page is the menu selection icon. In the menu, one can choose items such as rerunning the introduction slides, and saving and restoring database backups. There are a list of 8 green icons. These icons are used for displaying meeting details, sorting, filtering, running analytics, generating or removing test meetings, restoring the pre-filtered meeting database, and completely removing an existing database. The latter should be done with extreme caution, and warnings will be provided stating such. Prior to recording a meeting, we must first estimate the cost. This is done using the cost calculator. Note, there are 2 methods that can be used: manual calculations or using a variety of algorithms. There is a training video specifically on the cost calculator. The first time one attempts to use algorithms to calculate the meeting costs, a message comes up that states there is insufficient data to evaluate total meeting costs. This message will no longer appear once calculated mode has been utilized at least one time. To generate our first meeting, we will utilize the manual mode. In this example, we have already entered a $1 per hour cost of $111. Let us assume that we have 2 people present in the meeting. Thus, we enter the number 2 in the attendees field. The submitted cost will change to 2 times 111 once we hit the submit button. Now that we have an estimated cost per hour for the meeting, we can go to the meeting meter view. Similar to the cost calculator, there is a detailed training video on how to use the meeting meter. When we first enter the meeting meter, you will note a pending $1 per hour entry of $222. That is the number we submitted from the cost calculator view. Also note that this says it was a manual calculation rather than using an algorithm. There's also an entry that tells you how the current pause is configured. Here we have time stops when you pause. It is also possible to have time continue when you pause. This is explained in detail in the manual and in a meeting meter training video. We also touched on this later in this video. When we activate the Start button, notifications appear indicating what the active pause setting is and that the meeting is now in session and the start time and date of the meeting. Below that is the dollars per hour of the active meeting, the elapsed time, and the running meeting costs. We can pause and resume the meeting. Pausing freezes the display and resuming reactivates the display. Note that since we have time stops, when we pause for a second or two and restart, the timer starts from where it left off. To save a meeting, we click on the Save button. This will take us to the Saves Meeting portion of the Meetings view. The meeting start time, the calculation method and cost, and the meeting duration and total meeting costs are passed to the Save Meeting page. There are 4 mandatory items that the user must provide in order to save a meeting: the title, the meeting rating, the meeting type, and the meeting lead. We will call this meeting First Meeting. There are 5 meeting ratings available: excellent, good, neutral, poor, and worthless. Each of these has an icon associated with it. Excellent is a trophy, good is a thumbs up, neutral is a sad face because you have 0 return on investment. Poor is a thumbs down, and worthless is a garbage can. The icons provide a quick reference as to the value of the meeting. Next, we need to enter the type of meeting and who was responsible for the meeting lead. Initially, these databases are empty. They are completely user-defined and controlled. The user can define whatever meeting types or leads he or she wishes. It is important to note that if one wishes to experiment with the test meetings, the following types should be included: branch, group, project, staff, and team. Likewise, the test meeting leads include Alex, Dave, Donna, KJ, and Will. Without these entries in the database, one cannot sort and filter test meetings. For demonstration purposes, we will populate the meeting types database with those required when using test meetings. To add a new entry, click on the plus button and input your meeting type. Now that we have some entries in the database, we can select the meeting type. To demonstrate editing, we added an entry called Individual and we left out an entry called Staff. Let us edit the meeting types database. Here we add a new entry called Staff. To edit or remove an entry, there is a hidden sliding window. To expose this window, slide your finger from left to right. Likewise, to close, slide it from right to left. Next, we complete the leads database using the leads required for filtering test meetings. Note we misspelled Donna and need to correct that. Thus, we re-enter the meeting leads view and expose the hidden window. Instead of deleting the selection, we edit by retyping our entry for Donna. Comments and descriptions are optional, but are useful and can be used for sorting. A user may find that some sort of structured description or comment may be useful for sorting when performing analytics. Once we save a meeting, it will appear as an entry in a meetings database. We now have one meeting in a meetings database entitled First Meeting. The trophy icon indicates the meeting was rated excellent. Similar to the meeting types and meeting leads database, there is a hidden window for each meeting entry. Exposing this window allows the user to edit the title, edit the description, delete the entry, or restore the cost calculator algorithm settings. For demonstration purposes, we will modify the title and the description. If we select any meeting entry, the full details of that meeting are exposed. These include the title, the start time and date, the calculation mode, whether this was a real meeting or a simulated meeting, the elapsed time, cost per hour, and total cost. Also shown are the number of attendees, the type, the lead, the rating, and the description. Each of these parameters can be viewed on the meetings page by selecting the View Parameters icon, the eye. If we so desire, we can go to the cost calculator view and change the calculation method, the dollars per hour, number of attendees, or whatever parameters we wish. For this demonstration, we will leave these items unchanged. If we return to the meeting meter page, you will note that the meeting has simply been paused and is still in session. If we resume the session, the timer begins from where it left off and all calculations are based on that time. This is because the current configuration has stop timer during pause. Hitting reset resets the timer, clears the start time, the elapsed time, and the meeting cost. We will now change the configuration to add the pause time to the elapsed time when we pause a meeting. Now the pending pause is time continues. When we hit start, the active pause is also time continues, and the meeting is now in session. Let us pause the meeting for a few seconds and see what happens. Note, when we resume the meeting, an additional 6 seconds has been added to the elapsed time because we were paused for 6 seconds. Let us save this meeting so we have a second meeting entry in the database. Note the difference between the two meetings, including the start time, elapsed time, total meeting cost, meeting lead, and description. This completes the first training video. We suggest you take the training in order. The second video demonstrates the use of the cost calculator. The full user manual is available at www.meetingsanalyzer.com. Thank you for your time and attention.